Hey guys, what's up? It's Mia. I have been living in China for 4 years now. I'm starting my 5th year teaching at a university in China, and I'm so good that I'm gonna give you tips. Hey guys, what's up? It's Mia. Today we're gonna be talking about first day activities and ideas and how to prepare and maybe what not to do as well. I have been living in China for 4 years. I'm about to start my 5th year teaching. Are you ready? Because I'm not. September 1st is coming up, and that is usually when classes begin here in China, usually on the dot. However, this year, Chinese New Year is going to be a little earlier than usual, so some people might even be having their first day today. I know some of my friends are, but I'm not. Alright guys, let's get into it. Tip number 1. The first tip I have is to go to your classroom early. And I don't only mean early in the day, which I do advise that as well, but before the first day of classes. If you are on campus early, if you're already living there, which hopefully you moved in a few days, if not a week or so before classes start, you can go to your classroom, again, hopefully, that they're open. Some classrooms I know at my campus, if they have computers in them, they aren't open unless someone unlocks them, but try to get a feel, know where your building is, because if you're at a university, buildings are going to be with Chinese names and you might not know Chinese, therefore not knowing where to go. So definitely look at how are you going to get to school. If you live on campus, great, you can walk to your buildings and see, okay, it takes me how long to get to that building, or in between classes, if you have to switch buildings, how long does it take to get from building A to building B. Definitely look at that before your first day so that you are not running late, all sweaty, especially if you live in southern China where we are still sweating in the 90s. That's actually one of the reasons that I like to get to class like early. If my class is at 8:30 in the morning, which is usually all my classes are at 8:30 in the morning, I like to be in the classroom at the latest 8:20, latest. Because not only do I have to take the stairs, usually, and in this heat I take public transportation, so I'm sweating, I'm dying. So by the time I get to class, I like to give myself some time, go to the bathroom, drink some water, calm down, everything before class starts, so that by the time class starts, I'm ready, everything's prepared. If students need to talk to me beforehand, then they can come up and talk to me. Teachers who walk in exactly at the time of class, then students can't talk to you. You're still preparing after the bell rings, which might not be a big deal, but some universities have people who go around to make sure that you are in class at the time that you need to be, and if you are not, they will definitely tell your department head, so watch out for that. Alright, tip number 2. This is for people who can't do tip number 1 or don't have the time or don't have the means. That's okay, but just be careful on what you prepare. Don't prepare to write something on the board because you don't know, is your classroom going to have chalk? Is your classroom going to have markers? You might not know this on the first day. You might look at a classroom and think, oh, my first classroom had chalk in it, great, and then you go move buildings, and then guess what? That classroom does not have chalk in it, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Right? And especially on your first day, you might not know where to go to ask for these supplies. I know at my university, there's like an office in each building that I could go and be like, hey, I need my markers or I need some chalk. Well, usually in the classrooms that have chalk in it, they have like at least 2 or 3 boxes of chalk. So that's not a problem, but I know my classrooms with whiteboards, if I need to ask for a marker, I have to go to the office, blah, blah, blah. I ended up buying a pack of like 2 or 3 dry erase markers that I carry with me, which isn't much. I mean, I want to say it was probably like 10 RMB. It was probably really cheap, but that's something to keep in mind. If you think, oh, we're gonna write this on the board, we're gonna do this, you might not have the materials. All right, number 3, it's kind of intertwined with number 2. It's the same thing, what to prepare, what not to prepare. Also, don't prepare too much on the computer. And I do think, yes, you should prepare maybe a basic PPT. I usually have one that has my basic information that I plan to introduce to my students, and then also classroom rules on it, and the instructions to our activities. I also don't want too much on it because you might get into the classroom and guess what? Your USB doesn't work on that computer. what are you gonna do? You need to have another plan, or you need to have it in your head, okay? Because if you don't remember what's on your PPT and your computer doesn't work, then you are screwed for it, and that's the first day. And that is how students are gonna remember you. Number 4, I kind of already mentioned. Do a quick introduction of yourself, okay? Your name, what country you come from, maybe how long you've been in China, your interests, not super boring, but something exciting, I guess. Maybe about your personal life, whatever you want. Not too much information, of course. Don't worry too much also about what you write, because students will forget. I've had students come up to me mid-semester, even at the end of semester during their finals, and be like,
"Oh Mia, where are you from? Are you from England?"
I told you on the first day that I'm from the US, so how do you not remember that? And maybe it's because we're a native speaker and I know, like, clearly I sound nothing like a British person, so how could you even think that? But I guess for non-native speakers, they aren't as quick to pick up accents. But anyway, don't be too worried, but yeah, definitely do a quick introduction of yourself. And this kind of goes along with it. Decide what you want your students to call you. Now, I don't care. I have my students call me Mia. I work at a university, it's nothing big. My last name isn't the easiest to say, so I'm not gonna have a bunch of students trying to say my last name, Miss whatever. I'm fine with Mia. In China, they usually put teacher in front of a surname, but since I use my first name, they'll say teacher Mia. Some people just say teacher, whatever. It might be different for you depending on your name or what you want. It just depends on you. I have had some colleagues who want to be called Mr. Smith or whatever. I don't think teaching at a university is that formal, but it's up to you. Along with your self-introduction, obviously, I feel like I don't even need to say this, but have the students do an introduction. And you might be like, well, I'm never gonna remember that. You probably won't, but it gets them warming up to speaking English in your class, because for some of these students, they might have not spoken English in a very long time, over a year probably, maybe, depending on their major. You can just have them do a quick thing. I usually have them introduce their name and something unique about themselves. I know a lot of my students just revert back to what they know, and they'll be like, oh, my name is Mia, I'm from Beijing, and I like basketball. Cool, everyone is the same. That's why I say, tell me something unique about yourself. I have so many students who say, oh, I have nothing unique about myself. I hate that. I hate it so much, and I know it's a whole different kind of mentality here in China, where like a lot of people don't want to be unique, or they want to be similar. Like, that's a good thing. Sometimes it's great, and then I learned something about students on the first day, and then I don't forget. I had one kid who could beatbox, and then he did that in his introduction, and I just remember, oh, I don't know your name, but I know you can beatbox. Now, this is all up to you at the end of the day, but I like to take the first day class as kind of a warm-up, nothing super intense. I don't get straight into my daily activities and learning tasks on the first day. I usually just play a lot of games. I usually play more introductory games, such as 2 truths and a lie, where you say 3 things and then they have to figure out, okay, which one is the lie. Or I have a thing called card speeches. I have a deck of cards. I give each student a card. Depending on their suit, that's what they will talk about. So I will have on the board or on my PPT, okay, a heart, you will talk about someone you admire. A spade is like talk about someone, no. A spade is talk about something you would change in the world. It could be something small, like I wish that our dorms were cooler, or it could be something big, obviously, that changed the whole world. So that's also a good introductory thing, although some students take it, some students just do like 20 seconds and it kills me. Another game is like find someone who, where usually there's, I think, 9 squares. You can make it more and make it more of a bingo type situation, tic-tac-toe type thing, and you can either decide what categories are in it. Like put one on your PPT or make one on the board and show them, okay, this is what you need to find, because I'm not about to print out that many papers for every single one of my classes. I just have them write it on their own paper. It'll be like find someone who, and then each square will have a different thing. Someone who can swim, someone who likes spicy food, someone who has a brother or something like that, okay, or is from the north. Anything can work. Again, this is just gonna get kids not only talking, but hopefully out of their seats, which even with university students, they might complain. I swear, you think they're kids.
Oh, we have to stand up.
Yeah. Any kind of games like that on the first day can work. And again, this is just to get your students used to speaking English again and just get them alive, especially the time of day you might have them. They can be very tired. The first day, they're probably overloaded with so many new classes and new information that I usually just have some fun. All right, number 6. Depending on your class size, you can make them make their own name tags with their English name on it. This is mostly, I would say, for younger students. If you have like a class, a non-changing class in a classroom where they're always sitting at the same desks, I think that would work perfectly. You just give them a piece of paper, you fold it in half or in thirds and make a little triangle thing. And they just write their name. They can decorate it kind of if they want, you know, whatever they want to personalize it, make it beautiful. I have had a colleague who did this in the college classroom, and he made them bring it with them every single day, and if they didn't bring their name tag, they would get in trouble or like points off their score or something. I think that could be exhausting in a college classroom with how many classes you might have and how big the classes might be, but definitely like primary, middle, high school, it could work. For university classes, what I do to kind of take attendance and remember their name is I get a piece of paper like this. I don't know how much you could see. It has their Chinese name on it and their student ID number. I have them come up to me on the first day. If they have an English name, I have them tell me their English name, and then I write it down. I write it down, okay? I've had students try to write their names down, like they don't want to say anything to me on the first day, and then they always try to use a pen, and I'm like, get out of here, because they write their name, and I'm like, what does that even say?
What does it even say?
I write down their names, and I use pencil, because you never know. Day number 2, they might come and they want to change their name. Or they just don't know what their English name is. I write down their English names if they have one. If they don't have one, I say, okay, that's your homework. You have to tell me by next class. If they want me to find an English name for them or choose an English name for them, I do that just so I can give them a name that's not so common. You get a million Billies and Bobbies and like Lily and Daisy, a million Sarah. If they really want me to say their Chinese name, it's kind of a toss-up for me. I do speak Chinese, but my pronunciation is not the best. So if it's a tough word or tough words, I might tell them, can I please choose an English name for you? And hopefully they're okay with that. If it's an easier name, Chinese name, kind of like, oh, Ting Ting or something like that, I can say that. They're not gonna laugh at me. But just know that sometimes, like, they're gonna laugh at you. My university students laugh at me all the time, so that's why I've kind of given up letting them use Chinese names, because I'm gonna get laughed at, and it's just no fun like every day. So I do take attendance every single day, and that will help me remember their names and their face, because every day I'll be like, okay, Lisa, and I look, oh, who rose her hand? Okay, that's Lisa. So it helps me remember. I'm pretty good at remembering people's names, but I know a lot of people are not. Some people I know don't even really care to get the names of their students. So it's really up to you. Okay guys, number 8, last one. Over prepare. That's it. Over prepare. If you don't know your class size or what materials you'll be using or anything, plan a million things. I know that I'm only going to do 2, maybe 3 activities on the first day, but I'm gonna prepare 4, because you're gonna get those classes where they don't wanna say shit. And they're gonna make an excuse, it's their English level, but they just don't wanna say anything. So they'll be like, oh, hi, my name's Bob, I like basketball. I'm like, that wasn't even what I asked you, but that's what they're gonna say. Or there are other things that, oh, I really admire my mom, she's great. And I say, didn't I tell you guys like at least 30 seconds? No one listens to my directions. So I over prepare in case I get that class who wants to speed through everything, or that one class that has significantly less students than the other class. Some of my classes will have like 50 students, and then the next class will have 30. They're not gonna use the same amount of time for first day activities, right? So I have to think of other things to do. I've even underprepared. This was in the past. I think this was probably my first year or second year. I got a really small class. I got people that sped through introductions, they sped through the activities, the games, and I had to start day 2's lesson because I didn't know what to do. I really couldn't think on my feet back then. So definitely over prepare. That's my last tip. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you have any more questions about teaching English, teaching in China, or anything, definitely leave some comments down below. And be sure to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next one.